Hi, welcome to On Scene with TFD. I'm Mike Bellamy, your host and Public Information Officer for the Tallahassee Fire Department. Today we're going to introduce you to an exciting hands-on program offered by the Tallahassee Fire Department called the Citizens Fire Academy. And I have a feeling it may be just right for you. Here to help me talk about the program is Lieutenant Mike O'Grady.
Mike, thanks for allowing us to be here, bud.
Yeah, and Lieutenant Travis Walker.
Real happy to be here, Mike. Thanks.
It's good to have you both here. Both of you right now are serving in our training division as training lieutenants, and you're very familiar with the Citizens Fire Academy. So, Mike, tell me a little bit about the Academy, kind of a broad overview.
Well, it allows us to bring people out of the community in to see what we do day-to-day operations with the fire department and allowing them to put their hands on stuff and enjoy working with us.
The program itself is nothing new, right? We've been involved in offering this program for some time.
Yeah, it started back in 1995. It ran for a couple years, and unfortunately, we kind of dropped it there for a little while, but we've picked it up in the last several years. The course is 5 weeks long. It's one night a week. It goes from 6 to 9, and each night is filled with different activities for them to do, kind of see what we do.
It's really like a day in the life of a firefighter kind of experience, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And they get everything that we get to do, pretty much, except for go in and put out a fire.
The program, who's the program designed for? Is it targeted for a particular type of person?
Typically, people that live or work inside Leon County and are at least 18 years of age are welcome to come in and do the program with us.
The recruitment phase of that, I mean, what do we see? I mean, do we see a mostly younger crowd? Do we see a mostly older crowd? What kind of demographic do we have?
We've had every demographic you could think of. Anybody from 18 years old, and we've had them up to 65, 70 years old. Men, women, it's for everybody. We've had people come in just to see what we do. We've had them come in to see if they actually want to be a fireman later on in their careers. So it's a program designed for anybody and everybody.
Yeah, I remember one of the recent classes, we saw a couple of folks come in that actually wanted to become firefighters. And I think they kind of used it as a litmus test as to something, to kind of give them an idea of if that was a career that they wanted to be involved in. And, I remember some of those folks only spent a couple weeks with us and decided, you know what, I want to be a firefighter and I'm going to get signed up for the real deal, One of the questions I think that's important is the cost. I mean, what kind of cost are we looking at when you get involved in the program?
Well, just so you know, this is absolutely free. There is no cost to any of the applicants or any of the candidates. The only cost is, their time having to come out, one night a week for 3 hours. Other than that, it's absolutely free.
Right, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, and we go through several steps through the process, and we even give the option later on if they want to come back and try to get CPR certified. And again, there is a lot to offer out there, and they can come in, and we even, on graduation night, we'll have a big dinner and get together, and they don't even pay for that.
Yeah. Now, what about the different parts of the program? Let's take a moment and just kind of touch on each little part.
Night one, they get to meet all our chiefs. But they all come in and they speak. They introduce themselves. What do they do? They kind of get a breakdown of how our department works, how our rank structure works.
That's always a fun night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also a history of the fire department. We have a guest come in who kind of gives a history when we started. Shows a lot of old pictures and just brings it up through the current fire department.
That night, I remember some of that I sat in when Chief Dick was in there presenting the class. I mean, they just had a ball. She told them about her story of how she started out as a local, she was delivering flowers, got involved in, being around the fire department, wanted to do it, and then told the story about the budget. And I think really the participants felt like when they left that night, not only did they understand, the personalities and who these folks were that were firefighters, they understood how the budget worked, how we're funded, how we operate. It's kind of it was really a neat all-in-one class that night. Yeah. What about some of the hands-on things that they move into?
Well, after that first night, we move into hands-on, and we'll have a night, I think the next night, we took them out to the airport and introduced them to our fire station at the airport and our ARFA equipment, our airport fire rescue. We got them in there, they interacted with the firefighters out there, and they kind of gave them a spiel on what their job is out there and the equipment and loaded them up and took them for a ride in the ARF truck.
They probably had no idea we even had an ARF station, right? Which
A
is
lot of people don't know.
which is aircraft rescue and firefighting.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they're probably just amazed to even see the station because you can't see it from the road.
Well, and the trucks aren't the ones running up and down the road day to day. You know, they're bigger. You know, they're the lime green, so they get out there and it's kind of like, wow, look at
Yeah.
this monster of a truck.
Yeah, yeah.
So they really enjoy getting to ride in them.
Yeah. That's the thing that's neat about the class is that they get exposed to I think we let them see about everything we have to offer.
Yeah.
What about some of the burns? Do they get a chance to put some of the equipment on and get out there and actually put some fire out?
One of their favorite nights, they kind of get divided up in two, and half of them come to me, and I'll put them in our gear, boots, helmets, jackets, gloves, mask, our air packs. They'll get to breathe off our tanks, and then we have a burn building, and we'll smoke up the burn building with the fake smoke, but you can't see your hand in front of your face.
Yeah.
And we'll put a hose line running through that building to simulate going into a fire, and then let the candidates, hands and knees, getting low, one hand on the hose, one hand on their partner, and they crawl through the burn building.
Do you ever see anybody intimidated by that? I mean, I would imagine that, you know, for somebody, when we went to school, we eased into some of those things. We're putting them through it pretty quick. Is that okay? Are they intimidated by that?
There's a little claustrophobic sets in with some of them sometimes, but most of them, they just power right through it.
Jump right
and
through
we've
it.
had a couple, all right, I'm done, get me out of here. And we'll time them out and pick them up and then walk them out of the building.
Right. So, I mean, physical limitations, somebody's out there watching right now thinking, I don't know, I might not be, you know, strong enough, or I might not be young enough to do that. I think this program really is designed. We've seen every type of walk of life come through and every type of fitness level. What would you say to that in terms of being able to accomplish that?
We'll get you through it. Come out here, get with us, sit down, we'll find your limitations, and if you have a problem, we'll work around it. We can adapt to anything.
Right. We've even had some folks that with some physical challenges that we've even
Yes.
helped through some of it. And if something, you know, I was out there one night where we had some that were a little claustrophobic. They didn't want to participate in one section. And you were actually allowed them to not participate, move them over, gave them some more time on some of the other things.
Yeah.
What's you got any great stories about the class? Anything fun that stood out?
I remember the night we did the maze and the crawl through, we actually have a mannequin hand that we placed underneath the hose. So one of them's crawling through and they crawl up on an arm and they brought it out there
Yep.
to us. You know?
She said she rescued a hand.
That's right, rescued. I think I was actually there that
Yeah.
night. How can right now I understand we're accepting applications.
Yes.
How can people put an application in and get involved?
Well, you can go online with TalGov, or you can contact our battalion chief and they'll provide an email site for that to where they can link in on that.
Okay, we're going to put up some numbers for the citizens so they can get involved. And we have a class coming up this fall, and we'll also have one in the spring. So hopefully we can get some interest in the program and have a full class this time.
Yep, it's a lot of fun. I hope people come out and see us.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we're going to take a break. We're going to bring on some CFA grads next, but I want to thank you both for being here. I know you're both busy, and it's been a great segment.
Thank you,
Oh,
Mike.
you're welcome. We really enjoyed it.
We're going to take a break. Stay tuned. When we come back, you're going to meet two CFA grads on scene with TFD.
Hey, let me help you with that there, Sparky. Sparky the dog wants to remind you that when you change your clocks, change the battery in your smoke alarms. Speaking of which, when was the last time you tested the battery in your smoke alarm? At least once a month, push the button on your smoke alarm to make sure it's working properly. Remember, test alarms for life.
Hello, I'm Mike Terhune with the Tallahassee Fire Department. Did you know the chance of fires caused by candles greatly increase during the winter months? Please take care when using candles in the home. Keep lit candles out of reach of children and pets. And remember, never leave lit candles unattended in the home. When you go out,
For more life-saving tips, visit the Fire Department's website at talgov.com.
Welcome back to On Scene with TFD. I'm Mike Bellamy. Before the break, we were talking about an amazing program that the Tallahassee Fire Department provides to its community, the Citizens Fire Academy. We met two of the lieutenants who are instructors at the class, and now I'd like to introduce you to two recent graduates of our CFA program. Kevin SPEER and Emily FRITZ, thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
We tracked you down, we hunted you down, we went back through our list of graduates from our class, and your two names stood out there at the top. And the program itself, we just covered some of the topics. We went through kind of broad about the history of the program, and we were selling some of the fact that there's no cost to it, and we do it at nighttime. And I'm really excited about talking about both your experiences. So, Kevin, I'll start with you. What type of work do you do in the community?
I work at Florida State University. I'm in an oceanography department, and I go to sea and take measurements in the ocean.
Pretty neat.
It is neat.
So you figured I'm already out at sea doing this amazing work. I need to go see what firefighting is about, right?
Well, for me, the interest was to learn about the fire department culture. This is something that we all hear about as children, and we take our kids to visit the fire engine, but we don't. I never understood just how broad a horizon the fire department has, how many things it does, and I wanted to learn a little bit more about how it's involved with our community.
Emily, how'd you find out about it? What interested you?
Well, a former co-worker several years ago at an office where I worked had a picture of her experience with the Fire Academy. And I remember thinking, oh, that might be something I'd want to do someday. And it so happens in 2007, my own house was struck by lightning.
Oh, wow.
And so I had a very first-hand experience with the fire department. And so obviously that made me more interested. And so I put it on my list of things to do someday, and I didn't get around to it as soon as I should have, but I enjoyed it and wish I'd done it sooner.
Yeah, that's always neat when you've got this list of things you want to do. We find a lot of people that come in have wanted to do this for a long time, and they finally just dive right in. Whether they do it with a friend or they do it by themselves, you typically find that you all become friends pretty quick. Was the scheduling and the way the program's designed at nighttime in the 5-week design, did that work out well for both of you?
Oh yeah, that was easy to accommodate. It was in the evening, once a week, I think, and I found it to be easy to deal with.
Yeah, we started
Easy.
We started at 6 o'clock. We figured by that time most folks are coming in after work, and we'd have a couple that would come in a little bit later. We could accommodate that. Obviously we're trying to sell the program today as well. What would you tell people out there that are trying to, on the fence with it? What would you tell them in terms of wanting to just dive right in?
Well, the most important thing is that it's a lot of fun. It's very hands-on, and you learn a lot. And you learn a lot about the department itself, but you also learn a lot of hands-on practical experience. I had never used a fire extinguisher, even though my own house has caught fire. I had never used one. So now I have, and I'm less intimidated by it. So it's just a lot of fun, a lot of practical experience.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I also, we got the experience of putting out grease fires, and getting some hands-on work with the fire extinguisher, seeing the way the fire department responds to many different calls, not just fire calls, but medical calls. That was interesting too. I thought that the experience was valuable because we don't really know how much the fire department does in the community. And for me, when I saw a fire truck in the past, I thought, well, there's a fire. But it's not just fires that it responds to, it's the medical side of that, and that was interesting.
That's part of the expectation going in, that I think I may learn about all the other neat things they do, all the other things that maybe I don't read about in the paper or see, if I don't have a family member who works there. Was there any time during the program that you felt like you couldn't complete it? Were there any limitations?
Not really. I will say when we came off the tower, and I sat on the windowsill and looked down, and I thought, ooh, this is not going to be quite as easy as I thought. I got a little nervous, but I was in such good hands that I would say no limitations at all.
It was a pretty high tower.
That was a very high, and I had done it
4 or
before.
5 stories.
And I'd done it before at the Law Enforcement Academy, but the Fire Academy's tower is much taller.
You could probably see your office from up there, right?
I could, yeah.
See it.
It was a little worrisome until you went over the edge, and then you don't think about it anymore, and just start having fun. But the lieutenants talked about some of the things we did during class. I remember also going through the smoke room, and we also had some classroom experience. We learned a little bit about how buildings are constructed and how that pertains to fire safety and this sort of thing. It was a mix of classroom activities and hands-on work. I think I was surprised that there was so much hands-on work, and that really made it a lot of fun. A lot of fun to participate in. The department made itself completely open, and being able to talk to some of the firefighters and on a one-on-one basis and just have that direct experience was really quite something.
The history program is something that was a new part of that we brought into the program. Maurice Majak is retired from the Tallahassee Fire Department. He puts together a great presentation. Did you like that?
Oh yes. It also made me realize how difficult it must have been doing firefighting back in the olden days when you didn't have nearly the equipment or facilities that you have now. I don't know how they did it.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to see some of those pictures of the firefighters with no breathing masks and most of the time just a coat on.
Yeah, the evolution of firefighting is quite amazing. I remember there was some event, some rescue event at FSU some weeks or months ago, and bringing up again the idea that it's not just fighting fires. It's getting up on ladders and climbing up on roofs and helping people in need up there. Equipment that was not available not that many years ago.
Right.
I don't see how they did it.
No.
Yeah. It's something. It's really been neat to expose and show a lot of that equipment off, and actually put you in a lot of that equipment. In fact, we're going to go to a break. Will you stick around?
Sure.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, great. Because when we come back, I want to get into some of the details and talk about some of your experiences rappelling and using the jaws of life and all these things. Stick with us. We're going to take a break. When we return, we're going to talk more about the Citizens Fire Academy. Stay tuned.
I miss eating dinner with my family in our own kitchen.
550 children in Tallahassee are missing the simple joys of being a kid.
I miss having my own bed. I miss having our own house.
550 kids missing the simple comfort of having a place to call home. Join the Change for Change program by simply adding a monthly contribution to your city utility account. For the cost of just a gallon of milk, you can help all our kids enjoy the simple, extraordinary things about just being a kid.
Imagine a landscape of distinct natural beauty, a place where bees and butterflies move among the blossoms and birds find food and shelter, where plants can thrive on rainfall and native soil and fertilizers and pesticides are almost unheard of. Now, imagine this place is your own Florida home. Visit plantrealflorida.org and learn how to add native plants to your landscape and bring home the beauty of the real Florida.
My mommy taught me to count. 1, 2, 3.
Character isn't developed overnight. It starts when children are small, from birth to 5. What you as a parent do now will have a profound impact on the men and women your children will become. Think about that. You are your child's first teacher, and the Early Learning Coalition is here to help. To find out how the Early Learning Coalition can support you in your role as a parent, call us at 385-0504 or visit us on the web at www.elcbigbend.org.
Welcome back to On Scene with TFD. I'm Mike Bellamy. Before the break, we were having a discussion about Citizens Fire Academy, and we were speaking with 2 recent graduates of that program. Well, we're going to return to those same grads. Kevin and Emily, we're back for another segment. Thanks for joining me again. So before the break, we were talking about some of the exciting things in the program. One of the things that, well, when we close out the program, we always have you fill out like a survey, give us an idea what you liked and what you didn't like. And it's amazing how many people over the past programs wanted us to do more storytelling. They wanted us to really talk more about things that were going on and kind of things inside the firehouse. And so this year we try to bring some of that and incorporate some of that into the program. Did you enjoy some of the storytelling and some of the interaction with the firefighters?
Oh, absolutely, yes. One of the things that was very evident to me when they talked about their experiences, and I can tell that firefighters really are very passionate about their work and that they enjoy their jobs. So I could tell that they really are very committed to their work.
Yeah, we couldn't have had people more willing to give us the inside scoop into what happens on scene and what fire department operations really are like. And so we got a lot of very fun and interesting stories about the work. We
always encourage you probably noticed some of the firefighters from the station, that we have a station right next door to that. Station 4 is out there where we have the actual CFA. And they'll come over, I'm sure you saw, they kind of start showing up, and they're interested in you all as much as we are, you're interested in us. And we enjoy that opportunity to talk and tell our story. And I think we've really modified the program to let you into the firehouse a little bit more, so that we can sort of foster that interaction, so you can talk to the crews, and because it's really like a family. And you probably noticed that.
I picked up on that.
Yeah, we got that impression. There was nothing staged about it. It was all very direct and straightforward, and just a great one-on-one interaction with a lot of people who really love what they're doing.
When we started to go outside and do some of the hands-on things, the funniest part for me is when we put you in the bunker gear. We get you in the bunker pants and the bunker coat, and we actually put an air mask on you, the SCBA. Tell me about that, because I got pictures of it and I got video of it, and it's pretty funny.
Yes, there is quite a bit of gear, and I can't remember how much it weighs. Y'all told us during the class, but it is quite a bit of stuff. And it's not real cool. On a warm day.
Warm side,
yeah. It is very much on the warm side. In fact, one of my favorite things from the academy is that I have a picture of me with that gear on, holding a big hose. And that's one of my favorite pictures.
With everybody.
You can barely see my face. You've got all this gear, and you see this little bitty face buried underneath all that gear.
Now you know why we put our names on the back of our bunker gear, so we know who we're talking to.
Yes, because there's no way you'd recognize me.
Kevin, was that pretty exciting when you got to actually take that first breath of air from the SCBA?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I've done scuba diving in the past, worked a lot with the ocean, so breathing through a tank was not different, but having it completely cover your face and going into a room where you couldn't see very much more than an inch or so in front of you was quite an experience.
We set you all up outside that burn building and got you down on the knees and took you in just like we would do. That was pretty neat. I remember we had the thermal imager so we could watch all of you go through, and you're doing the search for the victim and all this. And you amazed me. You went right through, you got right to the victim, popped out the other side, you popped the air mask off, and just like it was nothing. It's pretty neat to see citizens come out there and put that equipment on, and just like, I know that's not easy for you to do. You're overcoming a lot of fears, I'm sure, while you're doing that. Tell me about when we went out to the tower and we got you all harnessed up in some gear. What was that like? We put you out the 4th-story window, I think it was, and rappelled.
Oh yes, that was very interesting, and again, there was a little bit of a fear when he said, "Now sit on the window ledge," and it took me a second to do that. Although everybody in the class had already done it, so I knew I could, and that getting me to sit on the window ledge was the hardest part. But once I got ready and went down the side, I was okay.
Yeah, I remember
the first step's hard.
I think I remember when Kevin went out. I think it was one of those things where you're like, you look out the window like, okay, you want me to sit there, you know? And we're all up there with a little smile on our face, saying you're okay. We have 2 ropes on you, and each one carries about 8,000 pounds. So, was that your first time, Kevin, going out rappelling like that?
Well, off of a tall building, yes. It's the picture I show my friends.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of pictures, did you have a lot of photographs? Did we provide a lot of video and photo for you?
Yes, and it's great because it was such a fun experience, and it's really neat to have pictures because it's something that I've never done before. It's such a unique experience.
Yeah, we try to make it a point to get the class photograph and do a little bit of video and put it to a slideshow so you can share it with your friends and family. And we always need a good Christmas card photograph for the year, right? The apparatus is also another portion of the class where we talk about all the equipment. Kevin, what kind of trucks and things did you get to see?
Well, one thing we got to see was the hazmat crew. Apparently there's a station here that is involved in potential hazardous spills, and so we saw their equipment and learned a little bit about what they would do in the event of an emergency. We saw and we got to experience the going up on the aerial ladder. So Station 4 is right there, so we saw their equipment, and that was probably a little harder than going off going over the windowsill. I think going up in that ladder. It's a little bit like a Ferris wheel.
Disagree. No, the windowsill was tougher.
90, 100 foot, I think it was.
Yeah,
the Bronto, I believe.
Yeah, right, up on the end of a little pole.
Yeah, moving around, looking at your office again.
Blowing back and forth in the breeze.
Absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't get any more fun in the dark with a bunch of bunker gear on with some fire under you either. So,
right.
Emily, do you remember some of the neat trucks that you got to see and some of the equipment?
Oh yes. In fact, the neatest truck we saw was out at the airport, because I'd never really thought about what sort of facility was available at the airport, and those are huge trucks, and I thought that was very impressive. Well, they have to be big. They're designed to put out fires on aircrafts.
Absolutely. They carry a lot of water.
Yes.
Yes. And foam and some other agents. So.
And that needle nose to
yes, that was very impressive.
Yeah, well, I want to congratulate you both for completing the program. We've really enjoyed having a great conversation about it. I think we're sparking a lot of interest and getting some folks involved in it. So I want to thank you both for being here.
Sure.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
That's all the time we have for today's show. If you're interested in becoming the next Citizens Fire Academy grad, simply head over to www.talgov.com/fire or send us an email. I'm Mike Bellamy. Stay safe and thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on Scene with TFD.